There's $900 trillion of wealth measured in dollars. The dollar will continue to expand 7 to 10% a year. That means in 7 to 10 years, there'll be twice as much of that. If Bitcoin, goes by a factor of 10 or a factor of 15, so it'll go from 1.3 trillion to 20 trillion, it could be 1% of the wealth of the world and be $1 million a coin, and the world will be whatever it's doing. Right? So I'm not really, I'm not of the opinion that there needs to be some catastrophe or there'll be some major, world event order change. I think that this is just good technology. It's going to spread just like mobile phones spread.
In just over 10 years, cryptocurrencies have gone from being mere digital novelties to becoming significant technologies with a combined value exceeding $1 trillion, with the potential to redefine global finance. More investors are now choosing to hold Bitcoin and other digital currencies as part of their investment portfolios and using them to buy a diverse array of products and services, from software to virtual real estate. Supporters claim that cryptocurrencies are empowering, shifting financial control away from centralized authorities like central banks and major financial institutions. Aligning with this viewpoint, Saylor, the CEO and founder of MicroStrategy, regards Bitcoin as a form of digital capital. He forecasts that it will gain traction among governments, businesses, and institutional investors. Saylor has highlighted Bitcoin's technological advantages, ease of use, and efficiency, and he remains committed to MicroStrategy's strategy of purchasing and supporting Bitcoin. Saylor sees Bitcoin as a form of digital wealth, akin to how the dollar represents physical money. As digital connectivity grows worldwide, he anticipates that Bitcoin will be adopted as a reserve asset by nations and corporations, starting with institutional investors and sovereign wealth funds, with central banks potentially following their lead. Make sure to watch this next clip where Michael provides his insights into the current trajectory of the Bitcoin market. Also, if you enjoy listening to crypto-related content, please show your support by liking and subscribing to this channel by following the link in my bio. And get access to my free daily crypto updates and expert predictions direct to your inbox. Each newsletter contains market intelligence, on-chain data and latest updates from experts in the crypto space. All of this is available completely free of charge. Signing up only takes a moment and you can always change your mind later on. Now back over to Saylor.
Bitcoin is digital capital. The dollar is the dollar. America's going to embrace digital capital, just like every country is going to embrace digital capital, just like they're going to embrace Google and Apple and Amazon and the internet and the like. They'll embrace it, but I don't think it changes how they handle the dollar. Central banks, maybe in time, the smaller central banks will embrace Bitcoin as a treasury reserve asset, but long before them, I think corporations will, institutional investors will, sovereign wealth funds will. If Bitcoin goes to $1 million, so it'll be somewhat more valuable than gold. But gold is still an insignificant asset. Gold is still an insignificant asset in every wealthy person's portfolio on Earth. So Bitcoin can go to $1 million a coin and be extremely successful, and it'll be starting to be embraced as digital capital, but we'll still be early. Now, I think Bitcoin is technology and it's digital capital, and I think there's a transformation of capital from analog to digital, and I think that every company, every government, every investor, every technologist will look at that, and people will embrace it at whatever rate they want to embrace it. So I think Bitcoin's going to spread like digital capital. I don't think you need any cataclysmic event for it to spread. I think it's just a better idea. It would spread regardless of whether there was a conflict. And, conflict, chaos, hyperinflation will accelerate the spread. But, if Apple Computer builds the Bitcoin into the iPhone, it's going to spread because Apple built Bitcoin into the iPhone. And why will they build it in the iPhone? Because they'll make hundreds of billions of dollars if they build it in the iPhone. Why wouldn't they want to make billions and billions of dollars? So people will do it because they can do it. And countries will adopt it at whatever rate, and investors will adopt it at whatever rate they will. It's just a better idea. It's digital capital. just like digital information. I think the next 10 years are, are a very rapid transformation along at least two dimensions that I'm familiar with. There may be more than two that I am not familiar with, but the two I'm familiar with would be digital money and digital intelligence.
Yeah.
And it's pretty clear that there's hundreds of trillions of dollars of capital, which is analog money. And as people start to transform the analog to the digital, you're going to see profound disruptions in business models, financial applications and financial institutions. And, a lot of things people took for granted for the last 30 years, they'll just throw out the window and say, what? Like if I run a survey on Twitter right now and I ask you how many of you are going to, invest in Bitcoin versus equities versus gold versus something else, I think like 3% of the people say equity. People just don't think that way anymore.
It's a transition.
And I think with intelligence, the AIs didn't work until they started working, and I guess they started working last year, and we're either in we're year 2, we're year 1 or year 2. I think we're year 1 of adoption of digital money, and I think maybe we're year 2 of adoption of digital intelligence. And I think they're going to spread like wildfire. So this is a big stack of complex, inefficient stuff, a lot of wasted energy. And this is one thing, very simple. That's why this goes up 50% a year and the S&P goes up 10% a year. And as people look at that, they'll realize I can get 10% performance with a stack of this inefficient, thermodynamically leaking Rube Goldberg devices, or I can just buy this one thing which is thermodynamically sound, which will outperform all this other stuff by a factor of 2 to 5 to 10 to whatever. And so those two dynamics, they'll go hard for the next decade, and they'll reform your industry, reform your job, reform the social order. MicroStrategy is a Bitcoin development company. So MicroStrategy's mission is to develop, advocate, support the adoption of Bitcoin everywhere in the world. So that's what we'll do. We'll do that forever. We'll keep doing that.
And you keep buying.
How will we do that? We will do that by buying Bitcoin every single quarter. Buy more Bitcoin. We'll buy it with cash flows. We'll buy it with debt. We'll buy it with equity. We'll buy it with any other capital markets activity that we can. Those opportunities will change from quarter to quarter, from time to time. I can't tell you how we'll be buying Bitcoin in 10 years, but I can tell you that we will likely be buying Bitcoin. We'll be supporting the education of Bitcoin.
Cool. Yeah.
There's 45,000 publicly traded companies. How many are on the Bitcoin standard?
1.
Every time I meet companies and CEOs, what do you think I say to them? I say,
buy Bitcoin.
You should recapitalize your company on Bitcoin.
Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe to receive free news updates and expert predictions direct to your inbox.